There's only one question and one question alone right now in Pat's Nation, brother. What you gonna do when Drake Mania runs wild all over you? That is the question posed at the very top of this, the latest and greatest edition of Six Rings and Football Things, brought to you by your friends at WEI, Odyssey, and 2400 Sports. It's the old gang, the Felix and Oscar, the odd couple of football talk and beyond. Nick Fitzy Stevens and Andy Jumbo Hart coming at you today. And Andy, I just want to ask you this straight off the top. Do you believe that New England has the fever? Does New England already, without him having done more than show up in his red 10 jersey and attend his first ever Bruins professional NHL iced hockey game, show up and get a 10 jersey from Tatum? Does New England already have a case of Drake Mania?
Absolutely. I mean, you're asking a biased person because I was a maniac before he arrived.
I know. Yes, you had the hashtag. Everyone remembers where they were when they first took part in the hashtag Take Drake movement. Andy.
Exactly. But no, I've been saying this all along, and I'll continue to say this week by week until it's not true. I like everything I've seen, heard, experienced about Drake Maye, whether it's radio interviews, press conferences, the way he carried himself. This is a stupid little thing. But I was talking to Giardi, a friend of the show, Mike Giardi. Well, former friend of the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, by the way, between our own company taking away potential co-hosts and other companies hiring them away, our company, no offense, was like, Mike Giardi, why would we pay him to be a member of your Patriots talking team? But he's good enough for someone else's morning show. I'll probably get suspended for saying that. Anyway, go ahead.
You better not, because I'm not doing the podcast by myself.
They fire our beat guy.
Actually, you know what? Get suspended because I'm not doing it by myself, so I'll take 2 weeks off too.
You find yourself
wildcat strike. I'll support my guy Fitzy. You suspend him, you suspend me, bitches. Anyway, so I was talking to my boy Mike Giardi at OTA Access this week, which, by the way, if you want to listen to a 20-minute plus recap of everything that took place on the field, Andrew Callahan, Boston Herald, joined me. I think
I was just going to take time. You can definitely find that in the feed.
Yeah. Could you hear the birds chirping and the beauty of the day?
It sounded quite lovely out there. And I was going to say, right up until today, where we had, the sun had shone or damn near come close to shining for 3 days in New England. That goes well past our maximum allowed sunshine time. We've passed our limit, so it's got to rain again today.
Puddles have dissipated. We need more rain.
I absolutely wanted to take a quick moment to thank Callahan for doing the live React pod with you out in the field out there, because you can drive home and then talk with me, and it's like, this is what I saw a few hours ago, or those fresh impressions are really nice. And I think that's what people want to hear. Right now, people want to see a quick video of Drake Maye flicking his wrist and the ball going 30 yards downfield. Right now, people want to see that video of him walking off the field with Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, because they put in an extra 20 minutes after practice, an optional voluntary practice. That's OTA, once again, to remind the audience, organized team activities. These are voluntary right now up until it's involuntary a couple of weeks from now. This is what people want and need. And it's not because we don't have anything else to focus on Boston sports fan wise. Right now, we've got a very captivating Eastern Conference Finals, the same place that the Celtics damn near show up at every single year, between the Celtics and the Pacers. No, people, there's something different about this kid, Andy. And who's advising him? I don't think this is some sort of team that's in his head, like that he's hired, like some PR firm. I think there is just this, like, do right by others and they'll do right by you. Southern charm, affability, May strong kind of, North Carolina version of the Gronk brothers thing that's going on. And I'm with you. I have loved every single thing that he's done. I've gone from that's the last guy I want quarterbacking my Patriots all the way up to I cannot wait until he takes over for Jacoby Brissett and I get a glimpse at the future firsthand.
First of all, I think he's genuine. I'm not sure anybody's advising him. Well, I'm sure people are advising him, but I don't know that they need to. I think he has a natural inclination toward leadership, fitting in, likability. And this is going to, there's a backup quarterback with the Jags, appropriately, that's going to catch a stray here. But there's a likability and a genuine nature to Drake Maye that the last guy here just didn't have. He just didn't have it. And for whatever reason, advisors, Belichick, my theory of scared douchey, like all of those are on the table. It didn't happen. This guy is natural. And as I was saying, I talked to Giardi about this because I was not at rookie minicamp. But Drake Maye brought a certain energy to rookie minicamp that was a little bit lacking in the first OTA. And I think by design, appropriately. At rookie minicamp, he to MF and man. That's his world. That's his group. This is his future and his team. At OTAs, know your role and shut your hole. Get in where you fit in. There's somebody named Jacoby Brissett who's played in this league for a goddamn decade as a third-round pick. He's won games. He's been there. And for now, he's the top of the depth chart. Don't step on his toes. You can still be a leader. You can still be what you are. And you mentioned coming off the field with Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. And I'm not saying he's shying away from anything. I think it's an appropriate deferential air to him when, until I am the guy, until that torch is passed, I'm going to respect number 14. And to a lesser degree, much lesser degree,
number 4.
Yeah. Because just to recap, and again, if you want to hear the whole 20+ minutes with Callahan, everything we saw, said, everything, head over to the other podcast from earlier in the week here on the Six Rings feed. But it went Jacoby Brissett, Bailey Zappi, Drake Maye, Joe Milton in virtually everything rep-wise, from drills to, team drills, 7-on-7, whatever. And I like that. To me, that is an awareness of who you are and what you are that I think is just inherent in Drake Maye. And we've all read the features. Chris Mason's feature on Mass Live was phenomenal.
Excellent. If you get a chance, folks, head over to masslive.com.
Absolutely.
They have a surfeit of Patriots people over there. They have enough people for 2 podcasts. I know.
They're running like a drug ring in the back room that finances the.
Where did Mass Live come up with all the money? Got Garisian, the legacy of Garisian from.
You ever see those restaurants where you're like they're in business for a long time, but there's never a lot of cars, and you're like, that's a front. There's something going on in the back room.
I was going to say something's Mass Live is a front. It's not food. It is not food that's coming out of that kitchen.
I feel like Mass Live is a front. No disrespect for them. They do great work. But in a world where everyone else is downsizing and trying to shave dollars, they seems like they're upsizing and have good for them. God bless them. Yep. And Chris Mason, that's why you get great journalism and great stories out of Drake Maye. But that's, those stories about Drake Maye, and, there was one about the respect of letting the seniors down when he was an underclassman in high school. And I just think he has that awareness of who he is, what is appropriate for the moment. And then you touched on the public stuff. I think it's great PR to go to the Bruins, to go to the Celtics. Probably should hit up a Red Sox game at some point, throw out the first pitch. And
we want to keep his spirits up.
I mean, Drake, Andy, they're not a terrible team. We don't have any interest in them because they don't have any players not named Devers, but they're not a terrible team, and he should complete the trifecta.
I was only going to say, well, hell, at this point, let's get on a party bus and take him down to Quincy for a Free Jacks match. I bet he'd see his first ever rugby match. And listen, you've got Nate Ebner and Patrick Chung, 2 former Patriots, 2 multiple Super Bowl winners that are part owners and investors in the team. Get his ass down there. The fans would go hog wild if they saw Drake Maye down there, and he would say, man, this is a different version of football than I've ever seen before. But yes, getting him to a Red Sox game would make a ton of sense because people went wild seeing him at the Celtics game. He took that great photo with Tatum. That is, he's a lot of great photos with Drake Maye recently. You got Tatum and Maye. That is the face and the future of Boston sports. He was at that rookie symposium that Michael Rubin put together on the West Coast that Tom Brady was at. We'll get to that in a few moments. You got a picture of the GOAT and the kid, Brady and Drake Maye, smiling. Everyone made their jokes. This looks like a Macy's Father's Day ad. I freaking did. The internet has been having a roll ever since the Scotty Scheffler drama from last week. He is at the Bruins game, and there's great audio of him and Jalen Polk sitting rinkside and talking about how intense the game was. And then there's also that video that the Patriots social media team really, by the way, has picked up their game over the last few weeks since Drake Maye was drafted. They've done a really, really good job.
Better than some of that pre-draft stuff that I was like, I don't get it.
I was having a hard time with that stuff. I think admin had a talking to. I think someone was like,
Andy Hart has not really understood a lot of our tweets lately. So if we could just pick it up, that would be great. Thanks.
No, they're doing a great job. And to be fair, we are not necessarily their audience. 40-something. You're still 40-something, right?
No, I'm half century kid.
Okay, 40 to 50-something white males. I'm not sure is their social media target.
What are you talking? We are the. Have you walked around a tailgate at Gillette recently, bro? I got news for you.
Yeah, I know they have that demo. Group. They want the other group. They want the youngins. They want the ladies. They want everybody else.
Hence why they have all the influencers, and you see people like Everyday Maggie and my buddy Ian Brownhill on the sidelines at games, and they'll whatever else. I get it. They're tapping into a different demographic. That being said, I think they're doing a great job of late. There was that nice little piece they put out after the OTA, after you and Callahan did the podcast post practice. It was just a 2.5-minute cut up of Jerod Mayo and Drake Maye engaging and interacting with teammates and other Patriots on Monday. And it got picked up and quote tweeted and shared by a lot of other reposted, whatever you want to say, on the new X Elon, where people were saying like, I'm already sensing that it factor. Like you can just gauge, you can just like sort of like temperature test the water. Like this kid has leadership. Watch out. He's got the intangible. One of the intangibles that is difficult to teach, that being natural charisma and leadership. Now we'll find out over the coming weeks, months, and possibly seasons if he has that other intangible necessary to win in the NFL, which is the ability to process information at a high rate, make the right read, and get it done.
Well, and I got into it with Gresh because I've been pushing back against Gresh's, I don't know if I want to call it negativity or as much as sarcasm that he has been dripping with ever since Belichick was let go and the Mayo era's begun. And, this is a lot like what I told you last August. And I was right that August was the time for hope because September through December were probably going to not be so hopeful. And they weren't. And I would tell you the same thing right now on a different level, because this isn't about a season. This is about an era, not an error like the Mac Jones one. This is about an era. The Patriots have a new hope, and they absolutely should. When you draft a quarterback number 3, things are really bad if you don't have hope. And then you add in some wide receivers, a new coach, a new offense. This is the great new hope. I don't know if it will be, come to fruition. That like there's multiple years before we get there. There's a timetable. There's, hey, when's he not 3rd on the depth chart? When's he 2nd? When's he 1st? When's he start? When's he play? All these hurdles along the way. But if you can't be hopeful right now and enjoy this, whether you're a social media person for the team, whether you're super fan Fitzy, or whether you're Joe Average, because I can tell you, I like to sort of judge things just when I'm about town and, I see somebody in the grocery store or at a game, like, what's their vibe? What are they talking about? I can tell you what every damn person is talking about, whether it's a fan or sort of that old lady who probably follows when they are good or when there's big games or when there's a primetime game. They're talking about Drake Maye, and you should. That is the story for hopefully for better. Hopefully I'm right. And hopefully he is in that conversation in 3 years of, geez, are we going to pay this guy $75 million a year? Because that's the going rate these days.
At this point, with the contract that Goff got and in the reports that Tua has turned down damn near $50 million, Trevor Lawrence is going to get at least $50 million a season. The money is getting silly. So when you say 75, it might very well be more like 60 or 65, but still, it's silly money. It's not our money, even though it is.
And you want to have that conversation.
Correct.
You want to not have that conversation. You ideally want to say, here's the checkbook, write your check, Drake, because you're the greatest thing that's ever happened since Tom Brady, or at least have the conversation like Trevor Lawrence you mentioned. I know there's a lot of debate. How good is he? Are you really going to hand him whatever the money is?
I think he's capable of that. Tua Tagovailoa, I would not pay $50 million a season to if you held a blank to my head, and you can fill in whatever you want with that blank. Just let that sit there for a second and marinate with the audience. But yeah, no, I wouldn't.
In my head, it was a bunghole after Mexican.
Jeez.
That's being held here.
You didn't need. Everyone imagined what you were thinking, or it could have been on the other side. Any which way, Andy. Thanks for taking it there. This has been Andy Takes It There, our new unsponsored segment that will never see $1 of sponsorship.
Nope.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be silly money. Yeah. And you hope that he gets to that point. And yes, it is hopeful season. The Patriots were smart enough on Star Wars Day to put a Maye, M-A-Y-E, the force be with you thing out. Like they're doing everything to grow this guy as a brand, as the pole of optimism. Like he is your beacon right now. And the fact that he's already jibing with the kids and the town and the sports and social media, and that big country smile is everywhere. He took a photo with Brady. Like all these things are steering us in the right direction. Yes, it's still going to probably be a bumpy season. yeah, the 4.5 over/under win total is probably appropriate. I still say they go over, but not by much. The only
you're
real
picking
question,
the over? No, shocker.
no, but we saw that on the Rich Keefe show with the infographic he put out. I said 5 and 12.
Yeah, I didn't care for the negativity.
Nice try, guy. No, I see a team building towards a future with a rough, immediate task at hand and one of the more difficult schedules. They have the 10th hardest strength of schedule of the season. They travel the 4th most miles. Like, there's a lot going on there for the Patriots this season, as well as they go from, the previous effort to replace Tom Brady, and now this is the second iteration of it, and they've got a former member of the Wolf Pack to hopefully steer the ship until the May kid is ready. I'm excited about it. I really am. I just think it's nice to see that we've all turned our frustrations, our longing for Belichick, our wanting for Brady, our disappointment with the way the Belichick era ended and Mac Jones into like, okay, let's give this kid a shot. And the same thing, to your point, I was at my kid's 5th grade band concert last night for a few minutes. And yeah, I was one of those. Although he's a trombone player. He's pretty good. He's going to be he'll be the official band. He's already sent some supporting sound to the Rich Keefe show. Like, maybe we'll get a 6 Rings rally song sometime soon. But one of the dads saw me and came over and immediately just wanted to talk. He saw me, wanted to talk football. He's a Giants fan. So he especially was interested in Drake Maye and actually kind of wished the Giants had taken a 5th round flyer on Joe Milton, just because they feel like they're just so despondent. Like, there's no hope for the Giants right now with the Daniel Jones era and everything that he'll be all about this season. But yeah, like he was all about like what Daboll wanted, obviously, which was finding Josh Allen 2.0 and molding him and hopefully turning him into their future. So I think the Pats got a good one. He's a keeper. Drake Mania is running wild all over New England. People, do you have a case of the Drake Mania? Are you happy? Is it too much right now? Would you like to see more of the kid around town? Or has it been just enough and now it's time to head back to the field, get in the classroom, the locker room, the film room, and do all the things you need to do to get ready for what should be a fascinating season? Let us know. We're at 6 Rings Pod. He's at Jumbo Hart, and I am at Fitzy GFY. Stay tuned now for the second leg of the podcast, a little Patspourri, where we'll talk about everything else swirling around the wide world of the greatest place to live, Pats Nation. All right, let's go. A little Patspourri now, Hart. Let's catch up on everything else going on. I noticed you created quite a stir there the other day with your column pulling that quote from Keion White about how now it's only his second year and he didn't even play much in his rookie year. So it's interesting that it would come from a guy like this. But he said did he say it was better, or it was interesting now that it wasn't just Belichick cussing everyone out all the time? You created a little buzz on the radio. You had that column at weei.com. I saw Pro Football Talk aggregated your column without giving you credit, because I know how much you love Mike Florio.
Lowest of the low. He is what. Remember when Kevin Mannix called Bill Belichick duplicitous pond scum? Well, whatever is worse than duplicitous pond scum is what Pro Football Talk and Mike Florio are. They are like the sewage treatment plant when it overflows from too much rain. They I can't say enough bad things about them.
They are a Burning Man porta potty turned upside down.
Absolutely. Like, I cannot say enough bad things about them. But
all right, anyway. Well, I think point made. Do you want to go with the Mexican bunghole reference again?
Oh, that's 3 steps up on the ladder for them.
Wow.
They need to aspire to become a post-Mexican bunghole. Not a Mexican bunghole, a post-Mexican. Clear that up. We're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, we're going to get, all right. Everyone knows what I meant. The point being, were you the only one that caught on to that, or was there like a little bit of a stir amongst the Pats media cartel, as people like to call it, when he said that? Like, ooh, this might get some traction.
So just to paint the picture, they had a training camp like setup of 3 backdrops with 3 microphones, 3 setups to do media. Keion White started, and then some others came over. May have been Kyle Duggar, may have been Juju, and a significant portion waved away.
Oh, I think you just knocked your microphone loose. Oh, you're muted now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Sorry about that little technical difficulty. Folks, this is what happens sometimes. Taking you behind the curtain. I
learned it from Paul Perillo. He talks with his hands. I don't think I can say why, because that's like a generalization you're not allowed to say. But Paul
Perillo, yes,
who calls his sauce gravy,
right, and loves it. Never met a chicken parm that he didn't like. I got it.
Correct. And sorry, knocked it over. Anyway, so a lot of people kind of trended away from the podium. And he said that, and nobody really reacted. In fact, somebody, I think Greg Bedard, followed up with a question about like, so you're going to be standing up more this year than having your hand in the dirt. And I'm like, he just brought up Bill Belichick cursing them out every play, and you want to ask this MFer if he's standing up every play? So he answered that question, and then I followed up a couple times with questions about his remark, and he made it clear he didn't mean it as a shot. He just meant it as an observation of reality, that Bill Belichick used to cuss him out every play, and now they don't have that. And then he kind of trended into Jerod is doing it his way. Jerod is being genuine. I followed up on that, which was my favorite part of it. I asked him, even in his experiences in college or high school, can you tell when somebody is not being genuine? And he said, absolutely. I sniff out the BS. And not only do I sniff it out, I push back against it. And I think that's the important part, is these players believe that Jerod Mayo is doing it his way. They don't, like Andy Gresh believes, think this is just some pendulum swing in the direction opposite Belichick. They don't think this is a calculated act like, oh, Belichick was a mean dictator, so I'm going to be super nice. No. They believe Jerod Mayo is doing it his way. And the whole point of my column, by the way.
Yep.
The whole point of my column was, for years we said all these people failed. The McDaniels, why can't I think of the bad offensive coordinator? Matt Patricia. Joe Judge. That they failed because they tried to be Belichick. They tried to be the dictator. They tried to do the Patriot way in Denver and elsewhere, Detroit and New York. Well, Mayo isn't doing that. So shouldn't we be praising that, or at least be giving it time to kind of fester and cure and solidify?
You can't ask people to do that. You can't ask people to do that in the modern age of the most immediate take, make as much noise as possible, social media, digital immediacy. No way. You can't do that.
Okay, well, I'm doing it. I am saying Jerod Mayo is doing it his way. It may fail miserably. It may also fail miserably, not because he's a nice guy, not because of his tone, not because of his style. Go back and listen to the first leg of this two-leg podcast. If Drake Maye sucks, if Drake Maye is a mirage, if Drake Maye is never the guy I think he can be on the field, then Jerod Mayo is swimming upstream without a paddle, because it's all about the quarterback. It's getting your franchise quarterback. So I have hope for Drake Maye, and I have hope for Mayo in the way he is going about his business.
I wrote up a piece for weei.com because I knew you were down at the field and doing the live reaction podcast afterwards, talking about Jerod Mayo, because I watched it live. I went back and rewatched it, and I was struck by, and I'll take all the slings and arrows from people like, oh, Fitzy, you're just protecting a paycheck. Oh, Fitzy, you're on Kraft's payroll, blah, blah, blah. All true. That's fine. But more importantly, I was struck by the relaxed affability that he and simple but not too overwhelming access. I know people keep saying like, say less this offseason, Jerod. You're putting so much out there. You didn't end up burning cash. You had to walk that back. How about less is more? I actually just found the fact that he provided an update on Cole Strange, that he gave us some information on Kendrick Bourne, things we wouldn't have gotten before. He's like, you're not going to see him this spring. Like, okay, that makes sense. He tore his ACL in late October. It's going to take him a while to get back. Good. That's nice to know. Cole Strange, he's having trouble coming back from his own torn ACL and messed up knee. We might not even see him this season, which might be the best thing possible for his NFL future. We'll see. You've seen Mafi out there, was the left guard the other day. He also got a couple reps at center. Should be an interesting competition. And by the way, starting after Memorial Day, everybody, once we get into June, Andy and I, once a week, in addition to providing you with the regular Six Rings podcast, once a week, we're going to be breaking down positional battles leading all the way into training camp in the regular season. I think the offensive line, among many positions, including wide receiver, which Jerod Mayo called a wide open competition for who's going to get the most reps, should be absolutely fascinating. But the grander point and takeaway for me here was, I just thought he was being genuine. This is who he, he may be a different guy behind closed doors, but the pleasant access and information he provided, I just didn't feel like anybody was sweating or nervous, like, oh, please don't yell at me, Bill, or like, please, like, he'll hold people accountable, but he's actually treating everyone like grown-ups, and I like it.
So do you think he's being genuine?
I do.
It doesn't matter what you think. No, it actually doesn't matter what anybody thinks, because
doesn't.
I believe Mike McDaniel, I believe D'Amico Ryans, I believe Kyle Shanahan, I believe Sean McVay. I believe they are genuine, and I believe the way they do their business has nothing to do with their success or failure. It's about the meat and potatoes. They're good coaches.
Yep.
Their scheme works. When married with good talent, like I think Kyle Shanahan has done and said some of the dumbest things in recent years, but he can coach. He's got a good
he can
scheme.
scout talent. Holy smokes, can he?
And he has
John
good
Lynch
players.
scout talent. Yep.
And like Mike McDaniel, everybody around here was like, hey, that Mike McDaniel, every press conference is stand-up comedy hour. It's like watching Fitzy at the Improv. Guess what? He can coach, and he has talent. And therefore, they're a winning football team. Now, I know they faded, and they have ups and downs. I'm not saying perfection, but the way Jerod Mayo handles his business is an aspect of his job, but a much bigger aspect is behind the scenes. The game plans, the way he oversees his coordinators, the way he puts his stamp on the defense, whatever. Like, those are the tangible aspects of his job that he has to nail, because he can get through the missteps. Look at Joe Mazzulla. Joe Mazzulla's had missteps, right? But he's got a talented team, and they're winning. So you learn on the job, and Joe Mazzulla is a 30-something coach who may or may not have been prepared or qualified to be head coach, just like Jerod Mayo's a 30-something coach who may or may not be qualified or prepared to be a head coach. But if he does the right things with his scheme and the players are good enough, Jerod Mayo will find some success.
It's a great comp that you stumble into there as well, because
I don't stumble into anything. I'm an effing scientist.
Right. You know what? Listen, people
actually, I'm an artist and a scientist rolled into one.
And an
like Da Vinci.
Please. Oh God. Right, Da Vinci. Thank you. It's nice to be able to crack the Da Vinci Code and be able to understand exactly the point you're trying to make every now and again as well. Hopefully, some greater applied science will be learned over the course of the season. But I think what's going on right now, to your point though about what's going on with Mayo and Mazzulla, I feel like Mayo is even a step beyond where Mazzulla is now. Yes, there is great talent on the Celtics, better talent overall than probably is on the Patriots. Crossing sports here, but the Celtics did a great job giving supplemental talent and great coaches this year. Charles Lee, who's been hired away, Sam Cassell, rumored to be in the mix for the Lakers job as well. And I think that's made a difference for Joe Mazzulla and probably helped calm him down, because he got thrown into the coaching fire last year with the trust of an organization that had championship aspirations. Mayo, the Patriots once again will have that as well, but they understand, like, you played, you're smart, you're handpicked by the Kraft family. We'll give you some talent. It's going to take a little time. But, you know, he's been around Belichick and the Belichicks and all these other coaches for a while. Like, Jerod Mayo knows football, and I think in time he will do a good job. But they also did, I think that's one of the reasons, Andy, why they surrounded him with some very experienced people like McAdoo, to what you want to say about his experience, and Alex Van Pelt. Monday, Jerod Mayo did say it's going to be an AVP offense, so take from that what you will. They didn't give him a lot of first-year signal callers. Like, I know you opined for Nick Caley. A lot of us wanted to see other guys like Zach Robinson get his shot. He's in Atlanta now with Raheem Morris and the Falcons. I think they did a smart move by going a little conservative with the coaches, at least on offense, that were a bit more experienced. And the defense has DeMarcus Covington and people that Jerod Mayo is familiar with. So long story short, Keion White made a little noise. You had a nice little column off of that and a good talker. And in the end, it's Jerod Mayo's Patriots, and it's going to be a long pivot. It's going to be a great turnaround. It's going to take some time, but like they've asked us, Andy, they're preaching patience. I'm okay with it. A couple other things real quick. Let's see. Let me run through them. I got a little list right here. Here we go. First one, Devontae Parker has retired from the NFL. My big takeaway, see ya. He killed the Patriots, whether he wore their uniform or not. Bye.
Yeah, he probably could have done us all a favor and retired about a year earlier.
2 practices with...
I didn't like him.
No, he just seemed like...
edgy, dinky, defensive.
Yeah, one of my least favorite Patriots in recent years. Like, did nothing to make us like want to root for him more. Did nothing. Like, I didn't see him out in the community busting ass. He was always sensitive. Didn't take ownership of dropping that perfect pass Mac Jones threw him last year in Vegas. Only killed the Patriots when he was in another uniform, but then decided, let me do it some more when I'm on the pay. Pissed and moaned for more money when they were rumored to be interested in DeAndre Hopkins. They pay him, don't sign Hopkins, then he stinks. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. See, now we're steering back into the negative. We got to stay positive. Come on, Andy, keep me on track here. The Matthew Judon thing. What say you about Judon no showing thus far? No worries or no chance he's on the team by the middle of the year? Because he's going to want to get traded to a contender and get paid $30 million because or something absurd, because he's getting like $14 million, $13.5, $14 million now. This is the final year of his 4-year deal with the Patriots. He's going to want $25 million a season. Is he going to get that in Foxborough? Is this going to be a play it out season?
I don't think he's getting that anywhere.
Yeah,
I think he's on the wrong side of his career, going down the
and
hill.
A torn bicep.
Closer to the end than the beginning. Good player. I think he's a good, not great player. He's very workmanlike, productive, Pro Bowl talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I've said this all along, and I'm not changing this just because he, may be out of Foxborough at some point. I've never seen him truly dominate a game the way like a Khalil Mack or whatever, pick your pass, TJ Watt. Some of these guys that guy's unblockable. He is the most important player.
How about Christian Barmore? How about the way Christian Barmore got his $23 million average annual value contract when he just single-handedly devoured the Denver Broncos in the first half and had 3 sacks of the game the Patriots ultimately won, which may have cost them Jaden Daniels, but I'm okay with that.
Cost him a guy who's not as good as the guy they got. I'm okay with that, man.
I'm okay with that as well. Whatever. Exactly.
So Judon, I don't see him getting a ridiculous contract anywhere. Now, he's a good, productive player, and if he shows he's healthy, he'll get a contract and he'll be desired, but I don't think he'll be necessarily desired at the level he believes. And I think the middle ground, I know Jerod kind of not dismissed it, but just said he's been here, he's been in and out, he's not going to be here for this. I don't have any worries about Matthew Judon. I don't think it'll get necessarily ugly in any way.
That's a primary concern. I'm glad you brought that up. I just because everything is we're all together now. Maybe he just wants to work his ass off somewhere else, prove a point, show up when he needs to, kick ass, and either get moved or get traded early, get traded midseason.
And he's in the same boat as his boy Trey Hendrickson with the Bengals, who got a bump up last year. Now is asking for a trade. And I think they're sort of similar players. Again, Trey Hendrickson, good player. Is he TJ Watt or Khalil Mack or a Bosa or whatever? No. And so I think they're in that middle ground of they probably want to be paid, like you said, like truly elite pass rushers. And my retort, if I'm a GM, is, well, as soon as you become a truly elite pass rusher, I'll pay you that way. Otherwise, I think you make pretty good money for what you give me. So I think it'll be fine. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe this will be the first real test. This is also a potential test of, so Jerod Mayo is a defensive coach who's now a head coach, and he has joked it's worked really well with Elliott Wolf because so far we've agreed on everything. At some point, maybe we'll disagree. Could this be the first time where Jerod says, this guy's one of our mainstays on defense. We need to give him an extension and keep him around. And maybe Elliott Wolf goes, no, I'm not wasting money on a aging guy who's not a true impact. That's not part of the way we're doing business. We're keeping Duggar, Barmore, Gonzalez when the time comes. We're building around young, ascending core players, not older, descending. That's where you get yourself, you pay those guys. So that's something to keep an eye on is, could this create, I don't want to say a rift, but could this be a first divide of thought between Jerod Mayo and Elliott Wolf?
Well, the good news on that front, if you are a Matt Judon fan and want to see Mandam and the Patriots unofficial assistant GM stick around for at least this season, and no, we're not creating a rift or a talking point where it doesn't exist, folks. This is real life and a real, I won't say concern, but a talker for us in the media, us as fans, and of course the Patriots as well. The word is that Elliott Wolf put him in a certain part of the pecking order, wanted to take care of the younger guys first, and we'll address this at some point as well. I trust the Wolf of Ball Street. I think he's also having a terrific offseason. He's very genuine. He's done an excellent job building the middle class, keeping the quality players, and they had a very good draft by all accounts as well. So if they intend to keep him, this will be addressed in time. But I couldn't be happier still to this date that they gave Barmore the big money they did, because you get that guy incentivized and you get that guy rolling, and that's how you start building out this defense that the Mina Kimes and everyone and the Kay Adamses of the world are all talking about. Are we sure the Patriots are going to stink this year? Because that defense may actually be getting healthier and better. All right, fine. See, that's Andy, everybody. He hasn't you peopled you yet, but
What does Mina Kimes think about their depth at corner behind their stud number one, who's played a total of 3+ games?
3.25 games. Speaking of which, I was actually next on the list. Marcus Jones spoke the other day, 100% healthy, back at it as well. Something that we slept on missing last year. Never saw him return a kick. Never saw him take a snap at wide receiver. Never even saw him at slot corner as well. So that's another positive for your depth at corner, as well as a defense that is definitely going to have to carry a lot of the load this season. 2 last points, Andy. The Lasers are going to be taking over for the chain gang in the preseason, and the NFL has said that if it works, this new laser-guided system, the chain gang will actually be the backup just in case there's a malfunction. It'll be redundancy. If it works, then robots will actually be playing a significant portion. They'll have a larger presence in the NFL than in any of the other major American sports. What do you think?
It's fine. I mean, as long as it works. I always have doubts about technology because technology is great a lot of the time, but we've all dealt with computers, GPSs, whatevers that go awry, and you're like, that's not right. Like coming home from the Rich Keefe show, as I'll be doing tonight, there's a place on the Pike where my GPS always flips the F out and thinks I'm on a side street. I'm no longer on the Pike. And it says, go left now, go left now, go left now. Starts screaming at me.
That's like being in downtown Boston in general. Like your GPS is like, you got to be kidding me.
Right. So in general, I like it. Because Waze, there's nothing better than Waze taking you through some random neighborhood to cut 20 minutes off your commute. Like that's great. But every once in a while, Waze goes awry. And that's what I'll be looking for. But if they have the chain gang as your fallback, I do wonder how that works. Like, is there a certain period of time where you have the chain gang as the fallback? Then you decide, no, the lasers are fine and we don't need the chain gang at all. And then what happens if the lasers go down? And we've all seen like the yellow line, for example. Every once in a while when it's like diagonal on the screen and you're like, that's not right. Like,
yeah, how's that?
Do we have those issues? That would be my only concern along the way. But no, technology is good. Although I've always said the chain gang is the least of my concerns. Like, I feel like it's few and far between over the years when you have a disagreement with the chain gang. Like, no, it's the referees and their calls.
And their awful spots. Well, maybe that'll take it out of their hands where you see like Cleat Blakeman is putting the ball a full yard behind where we saw the running back advance and the line to gain. Maybe now this takes, are there trackers in the football? Do we have chips?
Well, there are trackers in the football. They are not quite, from what I've heard and read, they're not quite ready to go. The technology isn't quite precise enough for them to really put that into full use.
I know.
But it's where we're going. I'm fine with it. We're going with robot umps. We're going with lasers. We're going like, this is the future. Embrace it, hate it. It doesn't matter. It's here.
And when one of us invariably gets suspended or has to take a vacation, it'll be Chat GPT as our host here on the Six Rings. Could it be any worse? May even be an improvement. Who knows? And finally, Andy, speaking of social media and the digital age taking too much of our time, Tom Brady spoke at Michael Rubin's rookie symposium for Fanatics a few days ago in Los Angeles, made a little noise, or at least made the news with an interesting speech that he shared with all of them. I thought that's where, of course, he took the photo with Drake Maye. I think this is more than Brady just getting ready for the booth. And of course, Greg Olson wins a back-to-back sports Emmy for being the best color analyst in all the major American sports. And now he gets demoted to second team on Fox. You got a lot to live up to, Tommy. We'll see how Brady does in the booth this fall with Kevin Burkhardt. But Brady in this little rookie symposium talking to, it was Jaden Daniels, it was Drake Maye, couple other Caleb Williams was there, about 10 of them total. Brady's big takeaway was there's too much about my brand. There's too much social media. There's too much on the I and the me, and there's not enough about the us and the we right now. I almost feel like that horse is out of the barn. You're not putting that genie back in the bottle. That toothpaste is not going back in the tube. Like, you have to kind of just manage this at this point, because rare will be the Tom Brady that even though you've got the storm and the river and all that stuff, you can still stay laser focused on the task at hand, which is getting all 53 guys pointed in the right direction towards victory.
Yeah, I mean, this is generational. This is just a natural evolution of the times we're in with social media and business and brands and marketing and influencers and all of that. And I do blame Brady to some degree. TB12, the brand, the logo, like he took it to a new level. Now, he's right. he took it to a new level when he was already the GOAT, when he had already won 3 Super Bowls at least. And he had already, you know, he had broken records and MVPs, and he had established himself. And I've always pushed back on this. Sony Michel had a brand, I believe, before he played a single down, like selling shirts. Well, yeah, it was not a great brand, but he had a brand. I didn't love the Mac Jones M10, like whatever he trademarked. Like, I am with Brady. You should establish yourself as a superstar before you do superstar things. But that is not the world we live in anymore. It's just, you know, these kids are brands in high school. These kids are brands in college. You have to be honest with the NIL world. Like Brady, it was different for you. And it's different. Like, I think Brady would have been different if he had been paid $2 million to play quarterback at Michigan his senior year or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it just, you can't expect all these kids to act like you when they didn't grow up in the world you grew up in. Now, I will say,
good point.
I do think there's an opportunity here for someone like Brady to be different, to be unique, to be more maniacal, to be more focused on the task at hand than the brand and the this and the that. And you may surpass, you know, if that's, let's just say that's Drake Maye, and he's more focused than Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Yeah, I think it can pay off. I think it could. In the back end, you're the one with the bigger brand. You're the one with the bigger fame, more success, more winning. But, you know, this isn't exactly get off my lawn, old man.
I was gonna say, like, but it's actually okay. Like, I'm not quite there yet, but you know, you've got a high school senior for a son, who's had, you know, a lot of experience on the field. He's a fan of these guys. He wants every jersey, but also he wants to be team centric and be a winner as well. And so you're watching it play out in real time.
Yep.
Brady was, and like you said, I think Brady is the most fascinating figure because he did stay so team centric and we focused, but at the same time was building his own private brand. And that's sort of what ran afoul with some of the Belichick tenets in the later years as well. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. And the kids that are able to still manage their brand, if you will, and control their social media, but also never get called out by their coach and never be left wanting for more opportunity, and still have the respect of their teams. Those are the guys that are going to win at the next level. And it's going to be complicated. It's going to be a little annoying at times. It is going to lead us to sound like, you know, a bunch of boomers on the sideline and behind the microphone, but that's a fascinating talker. And I think that you hit it. I think a great walkaway line was, you know, that when you just mentioned a second ago that, like, it's difficult for us to talk about it because we didn't grow up at the time. Like, we grew up in a very different time. Tom Brady played in even though it's so recent, we can remember it because he was ageless. That was a very different era than right now as well. So,
yep. And we're going to see it. There's a little bit of it. It's just blending somewhat, but I don't know if you've been following along. Two arguably of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, the reigning MVP and the reigning Super Bowl champion, are being body shamed and body praised this week because Lamar Jackson is down 20+ pounds from a couple of years ago, is lean,
might be faster than ever,
or he could break easier. He's getting more in Jaden Daniels land, whatever. And Patrick Mahomes walking into the building, a lot of people are like, dude looks fat. Dude looks like he's in terrible shape. And guess what? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Maybe he wins the Super Bowl. Maybe it doesn't matter because he's that damn good. Like, but this is when you're on that level of franchise QB, everything is evaluated, analyzed, overanalyzed,
scrutinized to such a higher degree. And trust me, the last guy that I worry about showing up looking like John Crook and then finishing the season with a John Wick attitude would be Patrick Mahomes.
I'll take him right now. If the Chiefs want to unload him because he's fat, I'll take him.
Go right ahead. All right. Listen, we will be on the radio twice over the holiday weekend.
We're not talking about Harrison Butker?
We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time to get into that over the weekend as well.
Honey, have my lunch ready. Just kidding. Just kidding.
It's okay. It's all right. Actually, we jest, but we're not. Yeah, honey, the meatloaf. Andy and I are going to be on the radio. We'll continue the Patriots dialogue, talk more NFL, Celtics, and beyond. We're on Saturday from 12 to 3 on WEEI, and we'll be filling in on Monday, Memorial Day, for the Greg Hill Show from 6 to 9 a.m. So you will get your dose of Six Rings, Fitzy and Hart, Pat's Talk, and so much more this weekend. But we thank you, as always, for tuning into the latest and greatest episode of Six Rings and Football Things, brought to you by WEEI, Odyssey, and 2400 Sports. Good job by you, Hart. Good job, as always. Thank you, Turp, for putting this thing together. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Enjoy yourself. Get ready. Happy Memorial Day weekend at hand for one and all. Good day. God bless. And as always, go Pats. All right, 17:20 was the break for the first leg. That's great. So we've got a singular there and a nice chunky Patspourri that he just has to cut 1 minute out of. That's terrific. And that was 45-52. Okay, great. All right, I got to go attend to the sick kiddo there.
Okay, see you. Good luck with
all
that.
Right, yeah, thanks. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll get Saturday ready, okay?
Sounds good. See you.
Bye.